We have a faster example in the song, which is built around quintuplets, or 5 notes per beat. And this is to try and ramp up the energy a bit more. And this is based on a chunk of 10 notes, or perhaps 2 chunks of 5 notes, if you prefer. And again, it's one of those natural patterns that you get from wiggling your fingers on a 3-note per string scale shape, like this. So that's our basic chunk or melodic sequence. And like before, we will complete one round of this, then slide up one position, and we start playing again on the same string that we finished playing. So the next chunk will be this one. And then I'm finished with my chunk, I move up one position, do it again. And then I keep going. And also here, when I run out of strings, I like to end with this kind of, in this case it's like an F sharp major chord, playing the root and the third. So 5 notes per beat might feel a little bit alien or weird if you have not done it before. And I want to tell you my approach to try and make it just a little bit easier. So the first 2 things I would suggest you do is to memorize the fretting. So, well, the first thing I would ask you to do is to listen to the lick a few times so that you have an idea what it sounds like, and then memorize the fretting without any particular regard for timing. Just all the places where you have to put your fingers on the fretboard. Once you do that, you'll probably start seeing that you'll find notes that you want to accent. And in fact, I suggest that you never start counting from 1 to 5 every beat. What I suggest is you just start playing fast and focus on some key notes that you want to accent and keep in time. So you sort of have target notes for rhythm. I personally focus on the downstroke that happens on the beat every 10 notes. So here's the pattern slowly with exaggerated accents. Now also in this case with the 5s, it can be tricky to do the position shifts in a clean way. And in this case, I think the challenge is that you end the chunk with the index in the lower position, and then you have to start the next chunk with the pinky in the next position. Now, you could do a stretch at that transition point and cover both positions, if that feels good to you. I hate it. So what I try to do is just rapidly shifting the whole hand to the new position when I need to. And again, this is a spot where I can lose clarity. Maybe the last note of the previous chunk doesn't ring out enough. So yeah, it's again something to listen to as you practice those kinds of things. And if I try to play this thing approximately the song tempo, it sounds like this. One of the problems with this lick, particularly the 5 notes per beat one, is that we're a bit on the fast side of things. And you have to pick every note, and the lick is quite long. So if you're just starting out, it can be challenging to keep it all together. There's also the option to do a mix of picking and legato if you want to try and make things a little easier for you to begin with. Or even just if you like the sound more. So you can experiment a little bit with this. And in my opinion, these are the best options. For example, if I'm looking at the 5's version ascending, we could modify the chunk, and instead of picking all the 10 notes, we can add a pull-off at the end. So the chunk now ends with the downstroke plus pull-off, instead of ending with an upstroke. And then we can connect it to the next chunk that will also end with a pull-off, like so. And we keep going. And so on and so forth. And at tempo, it might sound like this. And if you want, you can also do upstroke and 2 pull-offs instead of downstroke and pull-off. And that version would have this kind of chunk, where, as I mentioned before, I like to do a rest stroke before those pull-offs. And then again, you keep moving it up. And so on and so forth. And at tempo, it might sound like this. what I mean by rest stroke is that my pick is going to contact the lower string compared to the one I'm playing when I do my upstrokes to begin the pull-offs. And hopefully you can see that under the camera. For example, I'll do it in this middle chunk here. You should see the pick contacting pretty firmly the lower string while the left hand is doing the pull-offs. So I like doing this rest stroke with the upstroke because it gives a nice snap to the note just before the pull-off, and also gives some kind of accent that I can lock in with that begins my pull-off sequence.